Hey guys, Finally Sleeps here. FIFA Mobile 20 is coming to an end, and the prospect of a brand new FIFA Mobile 21 is looking sooner rather than later. To get prepared, I wanted to put together my top 10 wish list for the new season, but when I was compiling said list, I couldn't stop there. So I'm adding in my top 5 list of brand new concepts that I'd love to see in the game. Something a bit different. Well, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. Maybe it's top 15. You guys decide. Watch the video. Just let me know. My mom always said, Travis, the squeaky gear gets oiled or greased, something. So there's a dual purpose to this video. One, it's supposed to be entertaining, and two, more importantly, it's supposed to be a shout out to EA to let our voices be heard. Fill the comments with your suggestions. Share the video. I plan on promoting the hell out of it and basically shoving it down EA's throat as much as I possibly can. Straight down. Not in a bad way. Not in like a mascara running Pornhub kind of way. Not that I'm calling that out as being bad, whatever floats your boat, but more like that kid in class that won't stop asking questions. You know that one I'm talking about. The dumbest questions too. Constantly, never stops. That way he cannot be ignored by his teacher. We need to be that kid. We need to be the squeaky gear if we ever want EA to put some lube on it. That's what this video is. We're begging for lube. EA, lube us up. Sorry. Okay. Probably way more R-rated than PG-13, but I think we're fine. Before we get too far, though, or go too far, let me send a few shout-outs to some top-tier supporters at FinallySleeps.com, sponsoring the YouTube channel. Thank you, Christoph, Darren, Glenn, Eugene, Thomas, VKFC, Zachary, Denzel, Prositeu, Renee, and Sir Sharon Dindu. Okay, now these first two didn't quite make the top 10 list, but they were close, real close, so I wanted to give them some screen time anyway. First, we need more handicapped events with max OVR, like we've seen with Weekend Tournament. We also had the 80 OVR chem match where you had to build an 80 OVR team. It was in Retro Stars event. The max OVR handicapping is an easy way to level the playing field no matter how many hours you've spent playing or how much money you've spent on your team. As annoying as it is to have to put together an 80 rated squad to play versus when your team is like 165 OVR and you have so many ranks and boost and everything, this is an element that most players can respect and get behind. Second, something new I'd like to float. Chemistry in head-to-head as an additional handicapping measure. In versus attack, chemistry does nothing to stats. It only adjusts your chances, which is fine, but in head-to-head, I'm suggesting that the chemistry could handicap your stats. As in like 10% to 20% stat decrease across the board. The way boost increases things, we just do it with chemistry. We all know stats are handicapped in head-to-head anyway. We've seen players with 140 sprint speed get outrun by 110 sprint speed defenders time and again. Don't tell me it doesn't happen, everybody knows it does. Chemistry affecting stats across the board would mean people would need to take that into consideration when building everything, not just their versus squad. It would give a buffer for those players more interested in their favorite club as well. That way we're not just all trying to throw the best players in the game into everything we do. Make chemistry affect something in head-to-head. Okay, again, I'm just floating ideas here. Those were the honorable mentions. Just saying I'm all for handicapping whenever possible. There's nothing wrong with handicapping the game, both to keep it interesting and to level the playing field for the newer player and or free-to-play players versus the legacy players and the whales. All right, on with the final top 10. So these are the actual top 10 is starting now. My top 10 items for FIFA Mobile 21, my wish list, something like that. Okay, now this is something I've been talking about for the last couple of seasons. Blame it on my OCD, but the clock stopping in head-to-head makes my eye start twitching The clock does not stop in football. Here's my workaround. Instead of the clock stopping every time there's a goal or whatever, let's just slow it down to real time. Tick off the seconds one by one instead of just stopping it all together. It's a simple solution that would change, it really wouldn't change anything other than allow me to maybe back away on a few of my meds and keep the ticks at bay. Okay, number 9. This one has driven me nuts for way too long. I still can't figure out why we don't have a standard 4-3-3, with a 6, with an 8, and with a 10. That's a 4-3-3 standard in FIFA Mobile. That transitional central triangle needs to be in there. It's so standard in play that leaving it out of FIFA Mobile is as big a slap in the face as the clock not stopping. FIFA Mobile 21 needs to give us the chance to field a standard number-driven squad with all 3 central mid positions represented. Just saying. Okay, number 8. I've railed on FIFA Mobile in the past about being severely colorblind and how the kits have caused massive problems for myself and my optically impaired brain. And I'm not the only one. I have a lot of optically impaired brethren out there. To EA's credit, they have made advances in the kits matching that have minimized the problem over the last season, and for that I want to thank you. Thank you, EA. But there are still times when the problem persists. I have 2 options to fix it. Number 1, settle for a standard kit with home always being white and the away always being black with the refs in yellow. And it would just be a setting you could put. The colorblind setting, standardized kits. Or 2, give us the chance to swap kits before the match begins. Pulling from the console counterpart of the game. Just help a brother out, EA. I'm tired of blue kits versus purple kits and me stuck staring at their damn socks to figure out who the ball's supposed to go to, who's open, and stop playing it into the other team. Okay, number 7. This is kind of a no-brainer for me. One of the most overlooked aspects of FIFA Mobile are the AI matches that go along with the events and the programs. There's something small that we as players can grind. A varying level of difficulty is a must as well. We love to hate those matches when they drag our stamina dry and drive us wild trying to fight against that one match with the impossible scenario. You're 4 behind, you have 4 seconds left to finish, whatever. This season there were World Tour had a bunch. There was ZIDANE campaign, it had a lot ago. Those as far as the programs go. Then some of the larger events had reward tabs where you could play through 10 to 30 matches per event. This was one of the best parts of FIFA Mobile 20. I'm asking for more in next season. Do not discount the pull these AI matches have. Even when we hate them, we still kind of love them. Okay, number 6. In FIFA Mobile 20, we were treated with a new program that gave us the chance to put all the hard work from FIFA Mobile 19 into the new season, the Legacy Team. It was one of the aspects of FIFA Mobile 20 that had me most excited when we were still back in FIFA Mobile 19. Now, it wasn't bad. It started out okay, but EA dropped the ball. It could have been huge. Imagine a Legacy tab in all the major events that allowed you to use your Legacy squad from last season to grab just a few extra resources or event points. That would have been a massive incentive to look forward to for the reset for new players. This is as much about making the game more enjoyable as it is about marketing the game to return users. How is it that EA still is in business when huge holes like this are allowed to perpetuate unchecked? Legacy needs to be in FIFA Mobile 21, but we need it to be something special in the first month and in the last month. Don't just kill that shit off by November. Okay, number 5. I can't believe I have to bring this up again. I understand the natural order of things is left to right, but not switching gameplay at the half is not only so unrealistic, it's EA taking a piss on the left backs, the left mids, and the left wings. It's EA putting the players on that side of the field as the +1 who gets stuck at the kids' table for every big holiday gathering. Every Thanksgiving at my family, there's always that one aunt or uncle that no one really cares for, who talks really loud, who has to sit with the little window lickers at that folding table watching the third cousin try to shove peas up his nose. Maybe it's an American thing, I don't know. But the point is, without swapping the field right to left, most players focus on the right side of the field for attack and the left side of the field for defense. Flip it. We need to flip it. Okay, number 4. This is kind of a loaded one. I'm going to admit that up front. But it's my list, so I'm putting it on here anyway. We want more programs in FIFA Mobile 21. By programs, I'm referring to year-long activities that refresh weekly or progress without there being a time factor involved. Examples from FIFA Mobile 20 would be like World Tour, Zidane, and now Hazard. Team of the Week would be another sort of. World Tour and Zidane is... The problem is they die off so quickly for most players, then we're just left bored out of our gourd. We miss team heroes, league heroes, scouting, just to name a few. This also goes along with more AI matches. I get it, but it's my list, so I'm doing it anyway. Number 3, it's sad that I even have to mention this, but I feel like I do. This is another loaded one. It's not necessarily a wish for something new. This is me begging EA not to wake me up from a dream that's going to make mom have to wash the sheets. SBCs are a factor in FIFA Mobile 20 that very much must carry over to FIFA Mobile 21. Squad building challenges do so much for the game and for the market that without them in this current season, the dumpster fire that is 2020 would have bled over to FIFA Mobile and torched it along with everything else. It's pretty hard to up a wet dream, but taking away our SBCs would rip us right out of Miss August's loving embrace and throw us into a remake of The Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger replaced by the Teletubbies. Okay, number 2. Choices. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. Unless that box was released by EA in FIFA Mobile 20. Then you know exactly what you're going to get, because almost all of the events we've seen this calendar year were as straight as a Mormon missionary. Linear events suck the life out of the game. We want choices. Choices lead to excitement and value fluctuations in the market. The best events in FIFA Mobile 20 were Freeze, Bundesliga Rivals, Team of the Year, and TotW Team of the Season so far. Not because they were long, but because they presented us with choices in our paths. Not everybody got the same thing. That's what most of these rehashed linear events have been missing. Everyone starts at A and ends at Z. A simple fix would be take one 24-node path and divide it into 3 different 15-node paths, throw a few more matches in there, something. Just give the average player the ability to make it to node 15 in any one path, but not all 3. Or a combination of 5 to 7 nodes on all 3, or halfway down 2 paths. You get my point. Variety is the spice of life, which is why I never let my wife meet my girlfriends. Number 1. Speaking of more girlfriends, all we want is more things to grind on. Just like George Carlin once summed up the 10 commandments into just 2 commandments. Thou shalt always be honest and faithful to the provider of thy nookie, and thou shalt try real hard not to kill anyone. That's all you really need. So you could easily take my top 10 list down to 3. More stuff to grind on with lots of choices and more AI matches. Make the game more realistic, and don't you dare take away my SBCs. But number 1 is more grinding. We need it incorporated into the game in the events, in the programs, in the daily stuff that we play all the time. More grinding. There needs to be something to do all hours of the day that isn't head-to-head or versus. It feels like we haven't had anything grindable for the entire year. Everything has a limit, way too many stop signs, and not enough Autobahn. Even if that grinding only had a possibility of giving us something good, imagine if you could play endless skill games in an event, but only 1 in 5 dropped you a tiny event resource. Wouldn't you grind and grind and grind just for the chance? Again, no one seems to be at the marketing wheel at EA. You want more money in your pocket? Give us something to grind on. Give us a reason to watch ad after ad after ad to earn stamina to fight more gates or passing triangles just for a chance at some event resources, or maybe even a player. EA needs to hire someone who actually plays the game, or better yet, someone with enough marketing experience to implement some things into the game that can generate revenue beyond just expecting us to buy FIFA points and grab event offers. Actually, at this point, all EA really needs to do is to put a competent adult in charge, able to understand cause and effect, to seriously generate a massive revenue stream on a game that feels more and more like an afterthought from its parent company, regardless of a massive community of players begging for some attention. EA, we need some lube. Okay, well, that kind of took a weird turn. As promised, though, beyond my top 10 wish list, I have a top 5 blue sky wish list for elements that I'd love to see make their way into FIFA Mobile 21. Why is there a second list instead of just making one big list? I don't know. These last 5 would be huge changes to the games, not cosmetic or event changes that would improve the game at any given time, like we saw in the main top 10. But it's a new list. It's a new list. Top 5 concepts, new concepts that I'd go all Lance Armstrong for. Number 5. The goalie in FIFA Mobile is the only position you can't control, other than having him rush or direct his build out once he has possession. Nothing is more frustrating than watching your keeper suffer a case of Bell's palsy in the middle of a match while ZIDANE sends in a pointless finesse shot from 25 yards out that a chimpanzee with a heroin addiction could have easily saved by taking 5 steps backwards instead of standing on the 6-yard line and contemplating the meaning of life. When Ronaldo gets a lobbed pass creating a breakaway, the only choice we have right now is to rush the keeper, which is as reliable as Kylie Jenner standing in a spelling bee judge. What we need is a couple of pop-up buttons in the situation. So take away what we've already got. Give us something like jump, tackle, dive, or at the very least, let us click on the keeper and take control of his movement. That's it. EA, just let us touch the keeper. We just want to touch the keeper. Okay, number 4. These next few, okay, I borrowed these next few from the console. It's concepts that I think could be epic in mobile. A quick sell button that allows us to bypass the bot. Imagine this. And just trade in our players for coins automatically. Just bypass the bot. Just think how much that would save people time. It could make life a lot simple for those players that just don't want to deal with the market. Let's just say it gives immediate coins instead at about 75% of their current suggested price without running through the market at all. Me, I'd never use it, but I think many would. And can you imagine the value shift in players we would see if people could quick sell their silvers? My mind is literally reeling with the possibilities of a quick sell button. All right, number 3. Here's an old one. I'd like to see it make its way back into FIFA Mobile. To add another element to the game that would give us grinders and full-time players something to have a deal with, let's add in some injuries. Twisted ankles, pulled hammies, a tender testy, maybe a fractured weenus, or a case of toxic shock syndrome for leaving your tampon in too long. To do this, we need a reserve bench for each lineup, which would make things even more interesting. Of course, this is only for head-to-head and match play, but give us the chance to send in subs at the half, or make a sub due to an injury. It would give the game an element of realism and make that dives into tackle special trait actually worth a shit. If someone gets injured, you could either have them sit them out a couple of matches, because of to allow their injury to heal, or apply an injury card to them to repair the issue. Broken femur cards, all injury cards, that kind of stuff would be going for 1.5 mil on the market. I can just see it now. But we want injury. Something in there to make the concept of playing versus and head-to-head a little more difficult, and just add something else to it. Okay, number 2. We're almost done, guys. Almost done. Again, another console concept we'd love to see make its way into FIFA Mobile 21. If you're not familiar with what Foot Draft is, it gives you the chance to play with any card in the game. If you're lucky enough to pull one, I mean, you got to get lucky and grab something. Imagine getting or buying a Foot Draft token and then being able to enter a single elimination tournament against either other Foot Draft players or the AI, with a team made up by chance rather than how much you've played or how much money you've dumped into the game. No training, no boost, no nothing. Just a random base player tournament with program players and everything. Just untrained players. It's just another handicapping feature that gives gamers a chance to try out new players and yet another element to the game. We need Foot Draft in FIFA Mobile 21. This is number 1 in my blue sky new concept wish list. I'm saving my favorite one for last. Game Changers. And no, this is not the Game Changer cards we've seen in the years past. This is something completely new that came to me in a haze of Baileys and Guinness. Here's the concept. We add a slot onto all teams where you can apply a Game Changer card to the team. Now this card, much like Boost, will affect the stats on the entire team. Now there could be tons of different Game Changer cards too. Some more powerful than others. You'd have basic, rare, just like we do with everything. Common, rare, elite, legendary, that kind of a thing. You could have a balanced Game Changer, like I show here, that gives a +1 to all stats on all players across the board. Or maybe a marking Game Changer that applies a +10 to only the marking stat. Or you could even have off-balance cards, like an all-out attack card that gives a +20 to 5 different attacking attributes, but takes away 10 from all the rest, or just all the defending. Something like that. The combinations are endless here, and then you can make them auctionable and give them away randomly in events, or even like a 1% drop rate with versus or head-to-head. That would give us a reason to want to play that stuff, because I can tell you right now, many of us are bored out of our mind with versus and head-to-head. I think it could be huge. It would be simple, but I think it would change the way we play the game. Okay, that's it, guys. My full wish list for FIFA Mobile 21. A few honorable mentions and 5 new blue skies concepts. I'd give my left nut to see any of those last 5. Remember, we're going to shove this right down EA's throat. The squeaky gear gets the KY or something like that. I have no idea where I was going with that, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't exactly what my mom had intended when she said that. Like, share, comment, and subscribe here at YouTube. Tune in on Twitch, where I usually live stream an hour before reset on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Check out finallysleeps.com for all things FIFA Mobile. And don't forget to join the Foot Mobile Twitch Discord server. My invite link is on the screen right now. That's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And as always, as long as you keep watching, I'll keep making videos.